And what we can hear there is the Guard of Honour preparing to welcome the US President. Leading that Guard of Honour will be the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Sean Clancy, who has escorted those officers to salute position, getting ready there to welcome the US President and his family members. We mentioned it earlier, but he is travelling with his son, Hunter Biden, and we know he's travelling with his sister as well, Valerie Biden as well, who will be coming here to this official residence, part of a packed schedule of events for the US President today. And we know that from here there are a number of events he'll be taking part in, and then he'll head to meet the Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, and from there he will address both the upper and lower houses of the Irish Parliament in a joint session. He'll be only the fourth president to have done so, so that in itself is an honour. As you can see, the procession leading the motorcade up that driveway now.
Joe Biden, the American president, has arrived at Phoenix Park. Motorcade not in my view at the moment, but we can see the military there awaiting his arrival. We believe that he will inspect the forces along with Michael D. Higgins, the Irish president. He's travelling with various dignitaries as well as his family. So this, though an official visit, also has a personal element as well. He's travelling with his sister Valerie and his son Hunter, who have accompanied him on this trip. He's spoken many times of how he feels Irish to the soul. And yesterday, when welcomed home in County Louth, he did say it certainly does feel like home. I think, Ashna, you perhaps got a better view than I have. Can you see the motorcade actually pulling in?
Yes, the motorcade has hung back from the front of the official residence. And what we've seen is members of the US delegation have exited their vehicles. And the cars are slowly pulling up. We can see people now walking towards the official residence. And they are awaiting Joe Biden, US President, to step out of his vehicle. And this in itself is quite significant, really, because this is, somebody who has been so proud of his Irish heritage. So it's formed a huge part, a fundamental part of his political identity and his personal identity. So for him to now be here, the doors of the vehicle open now. It's the beast in the front of that shot. But members of his family are now exited their vehicles. Now, I was saying such a huge part of his political identity, personal too to him. So this is going to be a big moment. Dignitaries from all walks of life, from every part of the world, do come here. So who we're seeing now on our screen is the US Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, who is making his way up the driveway. As I say, the President is being accompanied by a vast US delegation. Anthony Blinken also accompanied there by a number of ministers too, the Secretary of Agriculture among them, and the Ambassador of the United States to Ireland, Claire Cronin, will also be among the contingent who will be here. And even though this isn't a political meeting, as it were, this is still very much personal. A huge amount of those members of those delegations will be in those discussions, and we understand that the President will have a private meeting with the Irish President too, Michael D. Higgins, within his study here. And that's a meeting that we anticipate is going to last about 20 minutes to half an hour. But as you can see, timings have very much slipped for reasons we don't know why yet. But we know that the President is in his vehicle, and we can see members of his party walking up the driveway here at Phoenix Park, waiting to be welcomed by the Irish President. And as we've been hearing, he's accompanied by family too.
And Ashna, as far as you can see, is he still in the vehicle?
As far as we can tell, yes. It's perhaps a chance for others in his party to make their way up to the entrance. But the doors of his vehicle, the so-called Beast vehicle, have not been opened yet.
And can we presume then, Ashna, that he will walk from this point?
That seems to be the case, because all of his delegation are standing beside the official residence. The President himself, the Irish President, hasn't yet come down the stairs. We know that he's going to be accompanied by his wife, who stands ready to welcome President Joe Biden as well. Sabina Higgins will be alongside him. So it looks as though there is a bit of a moment that they are staging, a real photo opportunity perhaps for both. Who they're going to be standing in the centre of those pillars there of the official residence, as they are welcomed here for the very first time. So it looks as though this is being pegged as a real moment. Timing slipping, as we've been saying, but as well as this meeting, this private meeting they're going to have, both sides will have a genuine time, lots of time really, to discuss family matters, political matters perhaps, but then there'll be some ceremonial duties too that will take place largely in the gardens behind the residence itself.
And Ashna, we've already seen the Irish President inspecting the troops. He came out and did that a little bit earlier. Will President Biden then also do the same, and will they carry out that duty together?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's probably going to be a chance we'll see him relax a little bit. Obviously, he's been in the Republic now for less than 12 hours, but he's definitely seems more relaxed, more at home. He said it himself, he feels as though he is very much at home. Obviously, the weather yesterday prevented that sort of main opportunity in County Louth to really fully go and meet people and shake hands for a longer period of time. Despite the rain, of course, he did spend about 10-15 minutes meeting with members of the public. And this is going to be an opportunity for him to, yes, inspect the troops. We're going to see that guard of honour. And he's going to be met too by the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Sean Clancy, who is there on our screens, and he'll be escorted to that salute position. And he'll also, we understand, be met by the Foreign Minister, Micheál Martin, here, and then escorted to the drawing room, which will be the first place that they'll be led to, him and his delegation. But we know that there is going to be this moment where they are all standing in front of the official residence, a real moment for an Irish-American president who has spoken so much about this visit, a much-anticipated visit for both sides, not only the Irish president, but also the US president too. And we can see now the motorcade is slowly moving up to the residence, so not walking, as we assumed.
So President Biden just pulling in front of the troops now. Actually, no, it's not pulling in, driving past the troops, I guess, up to the front of the House. And President Higgins there to greet him on the steps. With me now is our Ireland correspondent David Blevins, watching these scenes unfold as President Biden arrives at the official residence of the Irish president in Phoenix Park.
Yes, and certainly not the first US presidential motorcade to make its way through the Phoenix Park, where there are two important residences, actually. One, Uachtaráin, the home of the president. The other, the residence of the US ambassador to Ireland. So the president will have passed that key address to get here. And he is now, I think, preparing to step out and be greeted by Ireland's head of state, President Michael D. Higgins, who's joined by his wife, Sabina, as always on these occasions.